Hi, I'm happy to have Jeff Clark back with me once again. It's been more than 6 months. Jeff, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, Mike. I sure missed you. It's great to be back in these videos with you. Uh, some have asked, so I'll just share. I did have a back fusion surgery, a pretty big deal. And it was in May. So I'm still in recovery mode. I'm doing well. The surgery was, I'm told, successful. So I've been doing lots of walking and in physical therapy and all that. But glad to be back with you.
Great. We have to touch on what's been going on in the world. And there are periods of time where I'm just like ashamed to be part of this species.
Yeah.
I don't know what to say, but it just seems like uh, everybody goes crazy. And we've got all of these hot spots all over the world that could actually endanger human existence. So it's worrisome. I don't want to get into the politics of any of it. But I just wanted to acknowledge it before we start down the road. I just hope cooler heads prevail. So,
Yeah,
got any comments on it?
exactly. Exactly, Mike. With everything that's happening, it's what's concerning to me is the backdrop and how ill equipped we are to really deal with this. From Again, not a political statement, from all the way from our political leaders, all the way down to our grid system, to our financial system that is completely unsustainable and out of whack. We're not prepared to deal with some of these things that are happening, in my opinion, and that makes the situation even more dangerous. So I'm a little concerned, like you, about all of this.
Yeah, you mentioned the financial system, and I was really surprised to hear that a lot of the financial system is running on COBOL, which is this very old code. So this is old, they call it spaghetti code, which is dangerous and more vulnerable to hacking and so on. So anyway, it just makes me feel good that I've
Yeah,
got gold and silver that can't disappear. It's something physical that
right.
is going to be there, and it surges in times of geopolitical conflict and disasters and wars and everything else. So it
Every
makes me feel,
crisis. Yeah. Yeah,
yeah,
any
yeah,
crisis, and I'm glad, like you, that I own it as well. In fact, I felt like before my surgery that I'm comfortable with the amount of gold that I own, but all the things that have happened while I've been out make me feel like I need to buy a little more gold. I think that really is our
yeah.
crisis protection.
Yeah, and one other thing I just want to say to everybody is try and step back and take a look at the big picture again. These are the
Mm.
times when I do things like I'll either watch, listen, or read the pale blue dot. Just review that
Uh,
again, which is sort of humanity's place in the universe. And then Donovan's Universal Soldier. For some reason, yesterday I was listening to that. And, if you haven't listened to it, at least read the words Universal Soldier. Anyway, so you were at the Silver Symposium recently, and you've got a book out.
Yes, I did go to the Silver Symposium. I spoke there, and Mike, I'm happy to tell you that the number was 792 registrants at the Silver Symposium, which was in Vegas just last month. And it was very well attended, and some of it was crowded. Part of it was a crypto focused event, so it was kind of half and half, crypto and silver. But there were a lot of people there, Mike. So I wanted to share with you that there was, the attendance was that great, and the interest was still that high, despite the sentiment we have in silver right now.
Okay. Speaking about silver and sentiment and so on, you sent me a series of 3 charts. So, do you want to tell us a little bit about this first one here, the Q3 performance of major assets?
Yeah, I did an article, and it was basically a summary of the quarterly performance, like I've done in the past, of major asset classes. And you can see there gold was down a little bit, but to the surprise of, I think, many investors, silver was actually up in Q3. So I thought that was interesting. And then the next chart, Mike, if you have that, is the year-to-date performance of all major asset classes. And you can see, again, to the surprise of some people probably, that gold is up. Silver's down on the year. Again, this is through Q3, so the end of September. And you can see the asset classes that are doing well, stocks and oil, of course. Mike, it's interesting that both gold and silver outperformed the 10-year treasury year to date. I thought that was pretty significant. What do you think?
Well, I was just generating some charts that I'm going to have in probably the next video. But treasuries are way down. It's been some pretty tremendous losses since the rate hiking cycle began in 2020.
What it really shows is that the 60-40 portfolio really isn't protecting you through crisis, that bonds and treasuries really aren't protecting you and shielding you from the crisis like we've been told for decades. The 60-40 portfolio is what all the mainstream advisors and analysts use. And as a combination, it's performing very poorly.
And the best performing, Jeff Christian, I think, of CPM came up with roughly 20% as the optimum allocation to gold. And then the 60-40 split for the rest of it. The other 80% is split 60-40 to stocks and bonds. Whenever I go to the Gold Institute, and they've got a portfolio allocator there, and I always come up with much, much higher. But I like to measure over a long period of time. And so I come out with a much higher allocation of precious metals, which sort of matches what I've done personally. So anyway,
that's great. I think that if you don't own 20% of your total portfolio in gold, and again, that excludes cash, 20% in gold, that you're underweight, especially going into the kind of environment that we're in right now. So I think 20% is kind of a minimum for people to own. We might reduce that, Mike, someday, if we have, sane politicians and a sane global government and sane conditions. But right now, the risk.
Good luck.
I know, but what I'm saying is that heading into the kind of crises that are popping up everywhere and the risk of them, blowing up even further, especially the financial conditions that you've talked about, for years and in your book, if those blow up, you're going to want to own 20% in gold, maybe more. So that's how I feel anyway.
Okay, so tell us about this next chart here. Hi, I just wanted to take a moment and thank you for subscribing and mention that if you'd like to help our channel, please consider my company, GoldSilver.com, the next time you buy precious metals. We're one of the most trusted names in the industry. Our prices are sharp, delivery is fast, and we have an insiders program where you find out exactly what I'm doing with my own investments. Thanks for making GoldSilver.com your dealer, and now back to the video.
This is great. I wanted to do a supply-demand chart. I showed this at Silver Symposium, and basically you see supply is in the gray, demand is in supply is in blue, demand's in gray. You can see the supply, met demand for years, and then all of a sudden in 2021, demand popped up higher than supply. And then the big news, I think most investors know, was last year, the enormous gap between supply and demand. And Metals Focus projects that this year, demand is still going to be significantly higher than supply. And look at the total. I just had my chart maker just add up the 3 years of the deficit. And for those 3 consecutive years, which would be through the end of this year, the total deficit in silver is about 431 million ounces in a very short period of time. So I thought this was pretty significant that the number is that high in terms of a deficit between supply and demand. What do you make of that? How do you react to that, Mike?
I think this is great because it is spring loading. It's basically storing energy. I talk about storing energy a lot, and this is storing energy for whenever gold and silver do break out. We've got the big cup and handle on gold that's built since 2011. We have a triple top that's gone on over the past 4 or 5 years, and that triple top, it looked like it could develop into a head and shoulders pattern. I think I made a video about that for my insiders about 8 months ago, I believe, 6 or 8 months ago. And I was saying, I hope that this does a further pullback, and it is. It's developing this. It's got a shoulder, an inverse head, and then it's developing this other shoulder. And so I'm hoping that this sort of stays this way, and we have this pullback at least until early next year. That would be the energy that is being stored from a silver shortage, and then you compound that with all these technical indicators that are the most bullish and reliable formations that there are in technical analysis. That should lead to sort of a slingshot type move once we break this triple top.
Yeah, I agree. I think the longer this goes on, the more energy that is stored, and the bigger the pop and the run is going to be. And that'll be gold. And then silver, as I showed in many charts at Silver Symposium, it'll sit there for a little while, but then all of a sudden it'll explode. It'll catch up to gold and pass it, like it's done historically many times. So, but yeah, great point on the energy buildup, because the longer this goes, the bigger this could be.
Yeah. Okay. Is there anything else you want to cover?
I just wanted to mention, Mike, my book Pay Dirt is now out in ebook form. Maybe we could put a link down there to it, but happy to say it's out in ebook form now, so you can get it on Kindle and Barnes and Noble and things like that. And the physical book is coming, so it'll be available soon. It's a bigger and longer process than I thought it was going to be, and it was, of course, interrupted from my surgery, but it's coming. So, and your book is out also, right, Mike?
Yeah, but it's sold out on Amazon. We should have them back available next week, and then a couple of weeks later, I should be launching the ebook, the audio book, and the color version of the book. And it will be across, anywhere that books are sold, like Barnes and Noble and so on. So people will be able to get a Kindle or another version of an ebook very shortly, and the audiobook. And I'm hoping that they can sync it so that you can get the immersive reading with Audible and Kindle on Amazon. We'll see how that works out. So I want to thank you. It's been a long time, and I'm glad that your back surgery has worked out and that you're getting better.
Yeah, thanks, Mike.
Bye, everybody. Hi, I just wanted to tell you about GoldSilver's 111-ounce silver giveaway, where you can win 111. One 1-ounce silver bar, one 10-ounce silver bar, and one 100-ounce silver bar. So enter today and win.